Hey, what's up, classic cartoon fans? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about Looney Tunes, more specifically about Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Now, this is a 1953 cartoon that's only about 7 minutes long, and the director is Chuck Jones. We're going to go through it. Hopefully you like this. Let me know if there's another Looney Tunes cartoon below in the comments that you really want to see me cover, and I'll be happy if many people, decide to agree on that. I'll maybe look at it and maybe cover it in the next video. So in 1994, this was known as the 4th greatest cartoon of all time. I mean, that is a pretty big recognition for this cartoon. Again, only being 7 minutes long. Now, of course, it's a play off of Buck Rogers, which goes all the way back to the early 20th century. There's a TV show, Buck Rogers in the 25th century, as well as a movie in 1939. There's other things as well, but that gives you an idea. Now, George Lucas was such a big fan of Buck Rogers, and essentially, this morphed into this cartoon that we see in 1953, Duck Dodgers, that George Lucas said, you know what, when they re-release Star Wars, or when they release Star Wars in the theaters, he requested that this cartoon be shown before the Star Wars movie, which I think is amazing. Now, all the characters in this are played by one man, the amazing Mel Blanc. I've covered him before in other videos, so make sure to check out my channel for that. He plays, of course, Daffy, Porky, Marvin the Martian, and any of the extras. Now, we begin with an amazing just look at space. Now, we look and it's the 24th century. The year would be about 2350, and we see different things like spacecraft and these futuristic cities that are in space and so forth. And we go to the location of Dr. IQ, or IQ. Oh my goodness, I can't even say it. Now, he is apparently the secretary of the stratosphere. What you see here, there's a little bit of a mistake in the spelling of stratosphere. It's kind of comical. It's a goof. They just misspelled it when they made the cartoon. I don't know how they made that through editing process. Well, and we see Daffy Duck. He is, of course, the protagonist of this cartoon. Now, he was sent essentially a message saying we have a crisis. And Dr. IQ High essentially told him what is missing: shaving cream. The shaving cream atom, the quantity is low. We need that. Who knows what that even means? It kind of doesn't mean anything. He just has to get more of something. So where does he have to go? He has to go to planet X and do this. Now, Duck Dodgers is a character that's bumbling yet confident, and he has this whole Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. That's his thing. That's kind of his little shtick in this cartoon. Now, there are transporters here. Remember, this is 1953, before Star Trek, before Star Wars. I mean, the concept, everyone bases things off of someone else, but it's great to see this here. Now, he gets into a rocket. The rocket is facing up, and I really love this shot where the whole camera, the whole perspective of ours, essentially turns. It rotates at an angle, and then now we are looking at him straight on, but the rocket's still facing up. It's really cool. It kind of orients us to the angle that he's in, which is how they used to rocket up into space in the 60s and so forth, even now with the space shuttle most recently. Now, Porky Pig is a space cadet, quote unquote, and he joins Daffy in this adventure. Daffy reverses because he is a klutz, and he backs the whole rocket into the ground, which is a great little sight gag there. Now, he goes into space along with Porky, and he is trying to be the pompous one here, being the captain of the ship, showing Porky that this is where we're gonna go in all these crazy directions, almost like a comedic football play thing. Daffy asks Porky, do you understand what I mean? And Porky says, yeah, basically. And he says, what? How? I don't even understand it myself, says Daffy. And so he says, well, I believe if you just follow the planets, which are all lettered, if you start with A, you just keep following all the way to get to X. And that's how we find planet X. Now, Porky is a subtle character here. He's a bit of a brain. He's an introvert. He doesn't talk a lot. But he is the brains of the operation, even though we're led to believe that it's Daffy. Nope, he's not. So the roles are reversed here. Daffy, even though he is the boss, he's not too smart. He's clumsy, but yet he acts confident. That is, I guess, what gets him through many different things. Now, finally, they both land with their rocket on planet X, and they claim it for Earth. But then we see another ship. It's called the Martian Maggot, and we see Marvin the Martian. I love doing voices, by the way. I did him as a kid, and so I'll maybe include him here and there. That was me, by the way. And he comes, and now this planet is claimed for Mars, as he says. It's so great. And they continue, essentially the rest of this cartoon is them one-upping each other. It's very reminiscent of what goes on in history, right? The arms race, who has the bigger gun, who has the bigger kaboom, as Marvin the Martian would say. And what is great is they start small. They start with disintegrating pistols. Marvin starts, essentially, and he disintegrates Daffy. Even though he's wearing a disintegrating vest, the vest stays and Daffy disintegrates. But then, even though he turns into ashes, we have Porky that saves the day, and he reintegrates him, which is, I love it. I love it. It's so cartoony, but so great. It just works, makes you feel happy. Now, Porky is loyal. He is loyal, he is kind, and Daffy grabs the pistol and fires, and essentially the pistol disintegrates. A lot of these sight gags, but as I mentioned, the whole thing is just back and forth arms race. Now Porky gifts Marvin dynamite as a gift, kaboom, and he blows up. And then he sends him an ultimatum message. Now this is the one where Marvin responds with a gunshot. Daffy responds with essentially another shot that says ouch, and he uses a security surveillance system of some sorts. Now Marvin shoots him through the TV, of course, through the magic of cartoon, just physics, that is. Now the escalation of violence continues much like at this time, or it would later in the 60s and so forth. So it's very much making fun of that, or just bringing light to that. Remember, kids watched this, but also adults watched it in movies, and so there was hidden messages in there for us, and the kids could be entertained as well. Now what is great is the ending scene in which they both blow up Planet X. The only thing that's left is the two of them barely fitting on a small rock, on a small block that was left. That's what's left of Planet X, right? The arms race leads to destruction of everything. But what's great is that Daffy pushes Marvin off. So Daffy wins, question mark, maybe. Marvin is holding on to Porky, who's holding on to roots below Daffy. So it's, again, it's very satirical. For a kid, it works. It's funny. I remember watching this, and it was just funny and silly, and I was like, oh, Daffy, kind of thing. But there's a lot here. There's a lot in regards to message, and it's just an entertaining cartoon. I could see why George Lucas, and it's known as the fourth greatest, because it's not only like there's a great message under morality, but it's just fun to watch, and it's like you're on an adventure. So I'm sure in 1953 it was a riot. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Have you seen this one? Is it your favorite? What's your favorite moment of this cartoon? Love to see it down below. Thanks so much for the support. Don't forget to give a subscribe to this video and a like if you do enjoy it. We'll see you next time, and don't forget, be hopeful.